In February of 2020, this band recorded 3 tunes in a studio in Indianapolis. We had plans to go back a couple of weeks later for a second round of recording, but then the world changed and the project was put on hold. Maybe that was for the best. It gave me a chance to listen back to the music I'd written so far and time to build up momentum to write more pieces specifically for this trio. My aspiration to compose music came as a surprise to me. When I was younger, I never really had an interest in it, but the desire grew out of a necessity, an inner urge with a strong enough force to launch my own big band. That band has 17 members, but the irony is I can write music for this trio and feel like nothing is missing. I'm completely satisfied. Bassist Jesse Whitman and guitarist Joel Tucker make this an easy process for me. They are both deep, masterful musicians with an innate sensitivity in their playing that allows us to pull off anything I put in front of them. The studio photos, by the way, are by Indianapolis stalwart photographer Mark Sheldon. Over the past year, I would occasionally Dropbox new charts to Joel and Jesse. They'd come over and we'd play through them. Unintentionally, the music I wrote pushed us out of our comfort zone. Some tunes were 8 pages of notation that required many hours of practice just to play them correctly, not to mention musically. Luckily for me, they enjoyed the challenge and the music and kept showing up. We started playing a few gigs and had a debut performance in Eidson Duckwall Recital Hall on the campus of Butler University in the spring of 2022. The joy of a live performance comes in many forms. The anticipation of the crowd's quiet chatter before the band goes on stage, the hush seconds before the music begins, the feeling of a room full of astute listeners taking in the sound, the punctual applause after a piece. Applause are never a necessary ingredient for my musical fulfillment, but they don't hurt. It's as if a stranger is saying, "I accept you," or "I appreciate you," or maybe even, "I like you," or at least, "I like that thing you just did." I never write music for an audience. I wouldn't know how to do that if I wanted to. I'm the audience when I write music because I know what I like. One of the most rewarding things about live performance is the moment after a concert when an audience member walks up to you and says, "I love your music, especially the third piece." It's in those moments that the concept of writing for myself feels justified. If the music is true to my soul, others might find it true to theirs as well. As 2022 passed by, our trio planned to return to the recording studio twice, both times thwarted by life's circumstances. A scattering of live gigs kept the band's momentum alive. We played an intimate house concert hosted by Katie Taylor, along with a brief television performance on a morning show plugging Katie's series. We played at Merriman's Playhouse in South Bend, Indiana, for possibly the most polite and discerning audience I have ever experienced. We played outdoors at Luger Plaza in downtown Indy on a late summer evening where, besides the concert organizer, not a single person showed up to the gig, and strong gusts of wind blew our music stands over, but the music was great. We played at a secretive speakeasy in Fountain Square and a dive bar on Massachusetts Avenue. And finally, a new recording date was set, January 3rd, 2023, almost 3 full years after our first attempt. That day, we trekked down to Bloomington, Indiana to Primary Sound Studios, a unique recording space that was previously an old church just outside of town, headed up by engineer extraordinaire Jake Belzer. The session went as well as I could have hoped. I always love playing with Joel and Jesse, and I think we found a lot of really nice moments in the music. I'm simultaneously relieved and ecstatic to have made it through the process, and I'm inspired to write new things for this trio and hopefully record consistently. Looking ahead, we have some cool dates coming up on the calendar, including a festival in Florida in March. Stay tuned for the album release. I'm not sure exactly when this will be yet, but I am planning some limited edition items for purchase that will allow you to support our music while receiving something unique in return. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.